And folks, we are here at the Gulf Coast Industry Forum, hosted by the Economic Alliance Houston Port Region, and Ryan Sitton, CEO of Pinnacle, is with us today. Thank you, Ryan, for being here.
Glad to be here.
So, Ryan, you've spoken quite a few times on stage, but maybe not really about this topic. So you covered AI, machine learning. I want to talk about, Ryan, here's my question for you. How is AI and machine learning transforming what you do, which is predictive maintenance and reliability in manufacturing operations? And give me some tangibleness to this. Like, what are we really seeing from these efforts?
You know, I've got to give a little bit of back context here. So in 20 years of our company's been in business, we were taking data out of files and spreadsheets and putting them into simple analysis tools literally 20 years ago to help plants figure out when to do maintenance, when to do inspections, where their risky assets were, where to make upgrades. But it was very rules-based program. So we build we put this data in, do these calculations, get some risk prioritization, and then come up with plans. Very manual, very intensive, good records, but incredibly human dependent.
Right.
Fast forward to today, our machine learning algorithms are pulling in data real time, giving us much more accurate risk predictions, which enable us to do two things. One, we're finding areas of risk that we weren't finding before, and so plants are going in and fixing pipe or taking pumps down before they cause problems. And in addition, they're figuring out stuff that, man, we don't need to do that. So they're saving money, they're reducing waste, and that's happening right now.
So what are the biggest challenges if a manufacturing site or company that's, producing chemicals, whatever it may be, how do they implement AI and machine learning, and how can they overcome some challenges to doing so?
Yeah, the biggest challenge is when you're talking about companies like Exxon and Dow and Lyondell and Chevron, and I mean, these are literally the biggest companies on earth, and they're incredibly, by design, risk averse,
sure.
Right? And so they don't pivot on a dime. And yet our technology is advancing faster today than it ever has. So the challenge is to adopt that change. In the end, the change only happens when somebody in a plant does something different, right? Like, I can do a bunch of cool analytics and give you an answer, but if somebody doesn't go out in the field and turn a wrench differently or place a piece of equipment differently, it doesn't change the plant.
Gotcha.
And so how do you connect this better system, better analytics with the things the humans are doing is the big barrier, which is interesting because now for the first time we're seeing small companies, small like chemical companies and refineries you've never heard of, they're making the advancements faster because they're smaller, they can be more dynamic. And so that's the challenge big companies are running into, is to figure out how to make those connections.
You know, I was watching Terminator 2 the other night,
okay.
Ryan. I am going to tie this. Hold on, give me a second.
Okay.
And I'm thinking like, okay, are we headed for Skynet here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So here's my question based off of that comment. Give me your crystal ball outlook. What about the displacement or replacement of craft labor, but even more the technical side, right?
Yeah.
Like engineers. What do you give me a crystal ball? What do you think this might look like? I don't know, 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now.
When you get out, 5, 10, 15 years, there's not going to be much less craft people. In fact, there might even be more. Why? Because once again, someone's got to turn a wrench. Now, there's a theory that robots might start doing that. If you look at, this is separate from AI, right? This is, once we know what to do, the robot that can go out there and do it is insanely expensive today. Maybe over time that gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, but let's just say that, I don't think we're going to see a meaningful displacement in the rest of my career.
We haven't seen it in 10 or 15 years. We haven't seen that advancement.
So the robots in the field, no. Might we find ways to reduce spend so we have a human being doing something that's not that valuable? Yes. However, there are still opportunities to go do other stuff to fix. So I don't think it's going to affect craft people that much. It's simply going to prioritize what they're doing better. Now, the engineer in the office doing analysis, I think those guys, if they don't adapt, I'm telling them myself, if I don't adapt, I'll be gone.
That's right.
Right? Because I need to be doing less, I'm trying to assign risk numbers and look at and analyze patterns and produce plans, to I see a problem and I got to go in and fix it. And so we're going to be repurposing those people's time less from doing the upfront analysis to creatively solving problems. Yeah, in 15 years, there may be on a per barrel or per pound basis, less people. I don't think it's still going to be a meaningful drawdown in the amount of people working in that space.
Makes sense. Ryan, you're familiar with the government side of life. What should government policy be? And look, I'm saying government, let's just say federal policy. I don't really care where we take that.
Yeah.
What should policy be on AI and machine learning? I mean, should there be some bowling lanes, as far as the speed, the expansion? What security measures should we put in for AI and machine learning?
I'm going to be simple. We could get into nuance here. At a simple level, none. I mean, look.
Let it go.
Let it go. Look, the places, the industries that would use AI to do things, if it's really risky, those industries aren't incentivized to do it anyway. They're incentivized to be risk averse. In areas where it's not that risky, grocery store stocking and shipping optimization, if they screw it up, they'll pay the price. And so I don't see where AI, and I said this in my speech today, if we're really going to see a big disruption, it's going to be more on machine learning, which has been around since the 1980s anyway.
That's right.
So at this point, there's no role for government to play in this. The theory is that we're going to let AI start driving planes and cars. We're seeing auto drive stuff today, and the companies who build those and the drivers themselves, the insurance companies, they're highly incentivized to be cautious. I think that we can let the market handle it.
So for the time being, no risk of any Terminator bots coming in and taking us out. So Ryan, thank you so much for your time, and as always, appreciate you being on stage at the Gulf Coast Industry Forum and at BIC Magazine. We always like you joining us. Thank you so much for your time.